Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about NIO once again on somewhat of a weekly update at this point. I'm going to go briefly through technical analysis and then I'm going to dive into earnings, anything I can find that is new, positive news, anticipation, and what I think about this one at this level. Let's jump right into it. On a 1 week perspective, what we get to see here is something very interesting. Of course, on a 1 week perspective, ADX has ever been so freezing, so it's right now at 78.90. Again, almost the highest I've ever seen in ADX, and usually above 50 it's unsustainable in terms of the trend, but look when it was at 50. You're looking probably all the way back to May, and at that level it was around $4. So you can get to see that the ADX in this regard at this point, William %R is overbought forever now. MACD looks really positive though. Looks like we're getting a massive push and momentum looks stronger than ever. Moving averages look incredibly bullish. Now on a 1 day perspective, what we get to see is a little bit of choppiness seen at this level. It's almost like accumulating in this level kind of sense. It's above the trading action zone, so that means if it does break the 45.64 between that and the 37.03, it can see a positive reversal in this range. MACD gives you a little bit of a warning. It tells you, hey, if I get a pullback, you see this here? But what might happen is, you might still see a decline and then jumping back up. So you need to look into the MACD very carefully. Now, ADX here and William %R doesn't give us much. We can take a look into a 2-hour perspective, but I think it really doesn't matter. Yep, it's very much of the same information. A little bit of a warning, a bit more sideways movement in the last 5 days, etc. It went up to $54 and then crashed all the way to 44, and then covered back to 49. Quite interesting of a move. Moving averages, there's no point of fudging on there, but for the sake of the argument, in top 43.53, in the middle 39.57, and 35.62 for the moving average bands. Now the next thing is the stochastic fast and the stochastic slow. What they're saying is that there is possibly another leg, but you might want to secure some profits just in case it falls down, but it looks like it's actually recovering at this point. Starts. 43.09 is a support on the Fibonacci retracements. Below there, 34.34. Below there, 28.19. Below there, 22.05. Current resistance sits at 54.20 for the Fibonacci retracements. Now let's jump right into the latest, in terms of the supports and resistances. So the current resistance, we're looking into 49.21. Above there, 56.7. Below there, support 48.39. 47.92, and then nicely 46.57. Really strong one at 44.45, and we're looking at 42.40, and then below there we're looking at 39.70, 38.17, 35.65, 32.25, a massive one at 29.25. Now let's jump right into the latest news. So, of course, there's an EV rush in terms of Biden getting into the office, but from now until then, we need to look into, hey, what's the coming catalyst? So you kind of expect a little bit of a jump later on in January, but you want to know what the current levels are like. Deliveries, quarter 3, as I did mention previously, it's hitting its highest ever quarter, around 12,000 in my last video. It did kind of give an anticipation on deliveries, and I did mention it's going to be awfully close to quarter 2, as we can get to see. Higher than quarter 4 of 2019. We can look into the financial highlights, but I'm going to do that mainly into the actual SEC filings. But the delivery highlights, it seems to be the main big thing that they're looking at. So moving on, institutional buyers, we get to see it's bullish on buyers. I mean, I can see mainly addition of shares in the last week. That is definitely positive. You don't see that often. 16th. We had a couple positions decrease, but look in a bit of shares here. I think 11 million shares decreased around here and there. But that is normal. They're probably securing profits. But we get to see the recent trend in the last few days. It's been addition rather than subtraction of increasing positions. Of course, if you go on Finviz here, I like this one here because it gives you a bit of upgrades and downgrades. So far, I mean, the price target on this is around 30. You have a bit of upgrades. I mean, price target at 380. I think we're way above that, so I'm not gonna give it much sense. Investor relations on NIO. We're able to see a little bit of the latest posts. So the managing director of NIO US, Ganjish, be iron. NIO's focus is on your user experience above everything else. So there's that. A quick look at the 100 kilowatt battery and user upgrade plans. It really looks nice. Before technical highlights, the thermal propagation prevents design for better thermal management. Improves space utilization by 19.8%. Energy density is by 37% and thermal management performance by 17.5%. Managing efficacy or efficiency by 40%. All climate thermal management to improve the performance and extend the lifetime of the battery. Bidirectional cloud BMS for precision control from the cell to the system and for a perfect balance between the optimal working conditions and ultimate performance. So you get from the ES8 up to 580, ES6 up to 610, and from the EC6 around 1615. Or 615, my bad. So, bit of prices here and there. I'm not going to go through that right now. The main thing I want to look at is earnings. So let me zoom in here just so you can start seeing things if you're looking into mobile. I do recognize accessibility might be a problem. And what we're going to be doing is the last 4 quarter earnings, okay? So initially, this is the 3 months ending for December 31st, 2019. We're having, in terms of total current assets, around 4.9 billion RMB, they're not dollars, and increase around 6.4, increase to 15, and then increase to 26, amazing. So that's where the level we're at. Total assets has increased significantly. Now we can go on towards revenue, because you know that's what's important at the end of the day. There we go with revenue. Let me pull up initially around here, okay? So revenues, we're looking at total revenues around 2.8 in December 31st. And then we're looking down here on March 31st to be 1.37. So 2.8 to 1.37 doesn't look good. And then we look down towards June, covering nicely to 3.7. So still an increase. That's amazing. And then we're looking at September to 4.5. Amazing. Now we want to look into the total cost of sales, right? Total cost of sales went from 3.1 to 1.5. So less. Then 3.4 more, and then 3.9 more. Okay. What about the total loss of operations or loss from operations total? 945 or 946 coming in from 1.16 loss, coming in from 1.57, coming from 2.8. So we're significantly coming in a lot closer, awfully closer towards profit. Now the net loss at the end of the day, we have 1.046 coming in from 1.176, so there's an increase here or a little bit of cut on losses. And then before that, if you were to look, we had 1.69, and then before that we had 2.86. So currently it's the best quarter in the last 4 quarters. Now the end kind of baseline, the end line. Total comprehensive loss 839. Total comprehensive net loss 1.176. Total comprehensive loss is 109. Hold on. Going down here, 1.17. Okay, so we decreased our losses. That's amazing. But we also had a little bit of an anomaly here around 109, so that's a little bit different. We can ignore it. But around here, we had a total comprehensive loss of 2.7. So I would mark this quarter as acceptable and supports our bullish argument or our bullish stance on NIO. Now you can ask, hey Ed, what's next on this one? It's a little bit tough to say. There's a little bit of resistance at this level, but I still do think this is a bullish one. Hey, when is it gonna see a massive pullback? No one knows, even if we're gonna see that. I mean, we said that at Tesla, around 500, around 600, around 1,000, around 2,000. Right now it's trading pre-split around 2,500, and it didn't really crash that hard. It went to 400 and back to 2,500. That's down to 2,000 pre-split. So for EV market, it's really hot. I have no idea if it's going to go back to Earth, but for the time being, it's orbiting around the moon, and that's my stance on it. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like it. Have a wonderful day.